Well, good morning. Hope you're having a good start to your day. And we'll just wait a moment or so here till a few people come on. Here we go. And I'll say hello to a few this morning. May, how are you? Michael, good to have you on this morning. And Kim from Timmins. Francis Marie and Nativity. Good morning, guys. Charlotte, how are you? Good to have you on this morning. Tina, nice to have you on. We appreciate it. Jian, comment ça va? Good to have you on. Fran, welcome. Cassandra, Nick from our staff is on this morning. Karen, good morning. From Scotland, Ontario. Okay, Linda. Two Lindas. And Nellie. And Marilyn from Indian River. Jeanette and Micheline. Stanislaw and Keenan. Keenan, how are you? From Barrie. Okay, we're very happy to have you on this morning. Louise, good morning. Hello. Hello, yes. And another Kim. Good to have you on this morning, Tammy. Appreciate it very much. Okay. Marcy from South Carolina. Good morning. Sonia, Vince. We're going to talk this morning. Well, I'll do a little follow-up just on yesterday. If you haven't listened to, well, the podcast isn't out yet, but yesterday's live, I talked about thyroid distress syndrome. Okay, so if you didn't join us yesterday, you might really want to listen to the thyroid distress syndrome. That was yesterday. Okay, we did teaching on the thyroid. And maybe I'll do a part 2. But I got this headline, and it came out on the weekend that I saw it. Listen to this, okay? This is according to a recent study analyzing blood work, serum levels of Omega-3, okay? And listen to this, 68% of Americans, okay, so this was done in the USA, this study of blood, okay, so it's blood testing of Omega-3 serum levels. If you can get that tested, get it tested. It's very interesting. 68% of adults are low in Omega-3. You know what's worse, guys? 95% of children are low in Omega-3, according to the serum studies of thousands of Americans. They get a cross-section. Almost 70% of all adults are low in Omega-3, and 95% of children. And that would be, listen to this now, they are low according to the dietary guidelines. So there is what they call in the United States, I'm not sure if they have it in Canada. I imagine part of Health Canada would be this. But the Dietary Guidelines Association, who, tell us the basic minimums of food, by their standards, 70%, just about 68% of adults are low in Omega-3 and 95% of children. But I'm going to tell you something. one of the reasons that this has happened, if you would compare that to go back 50 years, maybe even a little bit less, we have the dietary guidelines in Canada and the United States. When you look at the basics of the guidelines, you have to understand something, that these associations, by and large, have been infiltrated by vegan extremists. Okay? And the consequences of that are catastrophic. You know how I preach this almost on a daily basis. You need fat to survive. You need fat. You need saturated fat. You need, very important, long-chain fatty acids. Okay? You need long-chain fatty acids. Long-chain fatty acids is DHA and EPA. They are not found in the plant kingdom. They're not. And you get a headline when it says 70%, 68 to be exact, of adults and 95% of children are low in long-chain fatty acids. That is catastrophic, guys. It's catastrophic, because what's happening, and you see it, if you want to go on Netflix, go on, all these propaganda things, and they get people, and it's a constant drip of, guys, as a matter of fact, I read an email today from, well, she wasn't a patient, but her mother's a patient. And she sent me an email and said that her daughter has decided that her grandchildren will no longer eat animal products. They buy into this. They buy into the nonsense, the narrative that animal products are bad, and higher on the food kingdom is the plant kingdom. And again, it's very popular today. It's very popular today. Even with those who are spouting climate. The cows, got to get rid of those cows. They're very hard for the environment. And at the end of the day, what it is they don't want you eating meat. And and even guys like Bill Gates and whatever, who are putting billions and billions of their dollars, that would be like you. And by the way, if Bill Gates puts in $1 billion, that's a lot of money. That's like you and I putting in, here's $20 into the pot. That's how many billions he has. But when he puts billions in at the World Health Organization and sponsor this meatless craze, I tell you folks, it is catastrophic. Because without long-chain fatty acids, without look, you need omega-3. Now, you can get omega-3 in the plants, but you can't get DHA. You just can't. DHA is found in the animal kingdom. It's found in fish. It's even got a higher source in steak, vitamin S. Cows eat grass, not you. Let the cows eat the grass, and you eat the meat. And I don't care, guys, just be ready for it. If you think the propaganda is bad now, you just wait. And you know, I saw a commercial last night about, you know, them eating, I think it was A&W or whatever. They have this meatless hamburger, right? And there they are eating, and it tastes just like a hamburger. Well, why wouldn't you have the hamburger? If it tastes just like the hamburger, why wouldn't you have the hamburger? In the hamburger, now not the bun, but in the hamburger, you're going to get saturated fat, which has the vitamins A, some D. No, but guys, don't fall for it. Oh, it tastes just like a hamburger. Well, I'd rather have a hamburger. You know how they make that stuff? It's soy. Oh, lots of protein in soy. Soy will elevate your estrogen. What is one of the biggest problems that we talked about yesterday with the thyroid? Why do we see so many people with thyroid problems today compared to one of them is soy. Soy elevates estrogen. And now they want you to go to that plant-based, and there's nothing worse for kids than not to give a child Omega-3 DHA. I preach DHA because it's the longest chain fatty acid, and your brain, especially children's brains, develop properly with healthy long chain fatty acids. I don't know how to say it any more clear than that. Children do not do well on a plant diet. They don't. Their developing brains need DHA. You need it too, but they really need it. 95% of children don't get enough omega-3. They're weaned on cereal. They're weaned on pizza. They're weaned on crappy dinner. They're weaned on carbohydrates and sugars, especially high fructose corn syrup. Kids today, they are, you know, I've said this so many times, I probably get tired of listening to myself. But if you ask me, what is the thing that has bothered me the most in this whole virus thing? What bothers me the most? You know what it is? We've thrown kids under the bus. The unintended consequences is children. Children can't, you know, they need to be masked up. They need to stay away. They, you know, they're going to kill grandma. Well, you know what? We're the first generation of grandparents, and I've said this to you before, that are more worried about us than they are worried about their grandchildren. I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime. I look at my grandchildren and I would jump under a bus to save them. If I thought if I'd have known grandchildren were that much fun, we'd have had them first. That's what I think of my grandchildren. I got 11 of them and one great-grandchild. But grandparents, put your hand up if you're a grandparent. I've lived my life. I have. Anything now is bonus. No, but seriously, not that I don't want to take care of myself, not that I don't want to keep on living, not any of that. But who comes first? They do. But not in this stupid world. Not in this crazy world. That's what's bothered me the most. Out of all of this, there's a lot of things that bother me, by the way, because they never talk about getting your immune system in good shape. They're not talking about my new vaccine, Viderma. It's a booster shot. Vitamin D, derma, skin. Don't you like it? No, but they don't talk about it because it doesn't fit their narrative. But here we are, okay? Now, okay, I went on that little rabbit trail. I'm coming back. And the powers to be in the food industry, even in the healthcare industry, they bought in the lie that, well, you know what? A vegan diet, a vegetarian diet without meat, you can do very well with that. No, you can't. No, you can't. You're not meant for that. Children need fat so that their brains will develop. They need saturated fat, and they need omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA. I don't know how I can make that any clearer. And when 95% of them are low, this is unbelievable. Their children's brains are not developing properly. And they need that fat. Someone calls you fathead, it's a compliment. You need to see your brain as a DHA receptor. Your brain is a DHA receptor. If you want to regenerate your brain, you need to take high doses of DHA. Eat it, and then if you don't think you're going to eat enough of it, then supplement. Supplement. I take fish every day in a capsule. But I'm the biggest steak eater you've ever met, is me. You haven't met anybody, believe me, that eats red meat like I do. And it's not only because I like it, I love it. But it's what it does, guys. Cancer hates steak. I think that's a new book I'm going to write. No, but really, cancer hates steak. You need omega-3. Your brain needs omega-3. Your heart needs omega-3. You know what? I bet you dollars to donuts. Almost every cardiologist in North America, dollars to donuts. Even though they don't recommend it to their patients because they always say, well, I don't know enough about it. Or, it's not my place. I give out medications, and they don't know anything about food. But I bet you dollars to donuts that most cardiologists take omega-3 as a supplement. You know why they do it? Because there's a lot of research out there that suggests that omega-3 is good for their heart. And they might not tell you that because they are trained to talk about cholesterol and to talk about fat as being negative. That's where their training is. It's unfortunate, but training is terrible when it comes to heart disease. But one thing they do know, because there's been so many studies on it, what DHA does, what omega-3 does for their hearts. So I'm betting you dollars to donuts. And the reason I did it, this is years ago. I did conferences at one time for a couple of years. You know when doctors have to go back and they got to get their so many credits, okay? And I think it's called CME. I used to work for a company just on the side that they'd bring me in to do nutrition, and I did a few in Toronto, I did a few in Montreal, and I would give them a nutrition course, and they go in there for a day or 2 days or whatever, and they get all their upgrades. Now they probably do it online. But I remember, here's me, okay? Because one day there was, it was all cardiologists, and they were getting their credits, and they brought me in. And the reason they brought me in is because they think I'm funny. They introduced me, okay? This guy's, I hope you have a sense of humor, they said, because you're going to like this guy. So anyway, I come in, give him nutrition 101. But I said, put your hand up, okay? This is a true story. I said, put your hand up if you take omega-3. I'm telling you, it was 95% in that room taking omega-3, okay? Here's the second question I asked them. How many of you recommend omega-3 to their patients? I think there was 2 hands that came up in about 150 in the room. I said, you bunch of hypocrites. You're a bunch of hypocrites. If you know that omega-3 is good for your heart and you take it and you don't recommend that to your patients, you're a hypocrite. Now that goes back 20 years, I think. Yeah, it's probably about 20 years ago. And we were talking about omega-3 and their hearts 20 years ago. And they knew better. Well, what's changed? Nothing. Except in the last 20 years, and even before that it started, but it's much worse today, is like I said, you have the vegan influence on these, on the dietary guidelines in Canada and the USA. You have vegans, you have vegetarians, and don't want to eat too much saturated fat. That's going to give you cholesterol. Plays right into the hands of physicians who know nothing about nutrition. So DHA for your brain, and by the way, concussions. I've told you in the past. Have you never watched the movie Concussion? That was all about a friend of mine, Mike Webster of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Football concussions, but don't let the word football turn you off. Watch the movie. It's a great movie with Will Smith. But you know what I was screaming during the movie? I was screaming, you need to put these people on high DHA. Give them therapeutic doses. You know anybody that's had a concussion? Give them therapeutic doses of DHA. What do I mean by that? Give them 6-10 grams a day just of DHA and EPA. Very high. It's amazing what happens to regenerate that brain in a concussion. It's well established, guys. I mean, you don't want to take that much fat. It must be bad for you. No, it's only good for you. It's only good for you. I'm a big guy on DHA. And like I said, I've been preaching it for so long now. And guys, you can eat DHA every day when you eat red meat, especially steak. And if you like fish, eat fish. Steak is better. Depression. Now, there's a lot of link between your gut and your brain, and I've talked about that a lot. There's multi-factor depression, but one of the big things in depression too is a lack. And this is why these kids cognitively, this is why children, I'm so worried about them. They're being pumped the lie of not eating the meat and saturated fat and omega-3 fatty acids. You need saturated fat, by the way, to pick up your vitamins. So when you eat, see that steak? Eat the fat. Put butter on it. Right at the end, when you barbecued your steak, take out butter and put butter on it. Now you're going to get vitamin K2 on it. And you're going to get saturated fat. And you're going to pick up the vitamins A, vitamin D. K2. Oh, I get excited, don't I? But even in depression, what is it? I think I did a podcast on this maybe a year ago or whatever. I was looking over my notes the other day. And they're showing that over 90% of people that have any sign of depression have very low levels of DHA in their brain. Cognitive. You know what they find in Alzheimer's, in dementia? When they do the autopsies on the brain, you know what they find? A shrinked brain. Now, this is not a brain, but this is fat. It's about the size of your brain, too. Okay, pretty good. I should get a little brain to show you. But your brain is made up of this stuff, guys. Your brain is made up of this stuff. And when you get Alzheimer's or dementia, you know what happens? And to those listening on a podcast, I'm showing 1 pound of fat. It's about your brain, okay? So when you see 2% milk, it always reminds me of brains, okay? Because it's about 2% of your body. 2% of your body weight. And yet it's headquarters. But it's made up of fat. And when you have Alzheimer's or dementia, your brain shrinks. That's what it is. The brain shrinks. Not eating enough fat. And then, you know, me with the reset, I always say, you're coming down this way and then you're going up the other way. Because a lot of people confuse that. They don't understand. They think it's low carb. It's no carb. But what makes the brain shrink? Two things. One, what makes the brain shrink? Sugar makes your brain shrink. Because sugar destroys your hippocampus, the memory center of your brain. It makes those brain cells shrink, shrink, shrink. And a lack of DHA, a lack of that DHA. And you know what? When you ask a question, what is the biggest concern of people? Especially when you get to my age, even younger. What is their biggest concern? Oh, I don't want to get Alzheimer's. I don't want to have dementia. You want your brain to operate. You know, somebody said to me the other day, I want to live till I'm 110. I said, why? You want to be healthy. That's what you want. You know, you can live till 110. Well, good luck with that, first of all. And you know what? Most people, the problem is they might outlive their brain. I don't want to outlive my brain. You? I don't want to outlive my brain. I don't want to not know what planet I'm on when I wake up in the morning. No, it's a horrendous disease. Number 1 in the United Kingdom. Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. But you need fat in your brain, guys. Don't buy the lie. Don't buy it. Oh, the meatless craze. I wouldn't give that garbage to my dog. Well, I think dogs are smart enough. They won't eat it. And we give it to human beings. All propaganda. It's not based on any food science whatsoever. You want to make yourself sick? Eat that garbage. Anyway. Okay. Okay. I'm done. Okay. Now, question and answer Friday is coming. We appreciate you guys big time. Send in your questions, okay? And if you're not a member of the Martin Clinic Facebook group, join in there. Great discussions in there. There really is. It's wonderful. You guys are great. We appreciate it. Okay? What a nice community there. So invite your friends and family to join the Martin Clinic. Get them to listen to our podcast. Okay? Like if you're, you might just introduce them. Like say, you know what? Why don't you try listening to these podcasts and let them see? I mean, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it, right? But at least put some salt in the water so they're thirsty for it. Okay. Guys, you guys are great. We appreciate it. Love you guys dearly, and we'll talk to you soon.